All right, let's dive right in. If you've been following the explosive advancements in artificial intelligence lately, you know we're standing on the edge of a massive, almost incomprehensible technological frontier. In this explainer, we aren't just talking about chatbots or generating funny images. We are tackling the absolute core of the AI alignment problem. We're looking at how we can build systems that are provably safe and why figuring this out is, quite frankly, the most critical challenge humanity has ever faced. To really understand the stakes here, we have to look at the ultimate, civilization-altering goal of artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Demis Hassabis, the CEO of Google DeepMind, sums it up perfectly. He says, first we solve AI, and then we use AI to solve everything else. Think about that for a second. It's a breathtaking ambition. It's the idea that this single invention could act as the master key to unlock solutions for disease, climate change, poverty, you name it. But that brings us to a terrifyingly simple question. What if we actually succeed? I mean, introducing an entirely new, smarter species onto the planet is literally the biggest event in human history. And for decades, researchers just kind of glossed over this. Look, humans dominate the world entirely because of our intelligence, right? Our whole civilization is built on it. So what exactly happens when we are no longer the smartest entities in the room? Make no mistake, if we achieve AGI, it is an irreversible turning point. Okay, let's move on to Section 1, the AI black box. Essentially, the difference between flying and bird breeding. Before we can even begin to figure out how to control a superintelligence, we need a really honest look at where modern AI is right now. When the Wright brothers flew back in 1903, they had already done the math. They understood thrust, drag, lift. They knew why the plane would fly. But today's deep learning models, they are giant opaque black boxes. We're talking about roughly 1 trillion tunable elements, where researchers just apply billions of tiny random mutations until the system starts behaving intelligently. It's not engineering based on fundamental principles. Honestly, it's a lot more like breeding a giant mutant bird and just crossing our fingers it doesn't decide to eat the passengers. And this creates a totally bizarre paradox. On one hand, you can't deny the triumphs. You've got AlphaFold revolutionizing structural biology and generative AI designing these incredibly elegant organic structures. But then, at the exact same time, we have these glaring embarrassments. After decades of hype, self-driving cars are literally still driving into wet cement. And these massive language models, despite being fed millions of examples, will still fail at basic arithmetic? Why? Because they haven't actually learned the underlying principles of math. They're basically just giant lookup tables predicting the next pattern. It gets even stranger when you look at the systems we thought were virtually unbeatable. Remember when everyone said AI was massively superhuman at the game of Go? Well, it turns out, average human players can now beat these top-tier systems every single time, just by using a simple trick with circular groups of stones that the AI completely fails to recognize. I mean, a human can learn a concept from, maybe 5 examples? These machines need billions. So the idea that we can just keep making these black boxes 100 times bigger and magically stumble our way into safe AGI, that is a massive and highly dangerous assumption. Which brings us to Section 2, the crossroads utopia versus Wall-E. Despite all those current flaws, an absolute mountain of capital is pouring into this space because the prize at the finish line is astronomical. $15 quadrillion. Yeah, quadrillion with a Q. That's the estimated net present value of AGI. We're talking about a tenfold increase in global GDP. To put that into perspective, that is the minimum cash value of a technology capable of providing an average Western middle-class lifestyle to every single human being on Earth, basically for free. When the jackpot is that unfathomably large, it completely makes sense why companies are spending 10 times the budget of the Manhattan Project just to win the race. But hitting that jackpot forces us into a pretty devastating question. If the machines can do absolutely everything for us, what is left for humans to do? Sure, a flawless utopia where literally nobody has to work sounds fantastic at first. But if general-purpose AI is doing everything better, faster, and cheaper, then human effort becomes completely obsolete. And honestly, that utopia starts to look a lot less appealing when you consider the soft doom scenario. Just think of the movie Wall-E. You've got humans wearing literal baby clothes, utterly disempowered because they simply don't need to know how to do anything anymore. When you don't have to strive or build or struggle to solve problems, you completely lose your agency. Sure, it's an incredibly comfortable existence, but it is the complete and utter infantilization of the human race.
And yet, the alternative to that infantilization is somehow even worse. If we just keep building these black box AI systems that we fundamentally don't understand, and we make them significantly smarter than us, we are functionally inviting a superintelligent alien to take the wheel. It's basic common sense. You wouldn't expect a gorilla to successfully keep a human locked in a cage forever, right? The intelligence gap is just way too wide.
Even Alan Turing, the legendary founder of computer science, saw this exact thing coming back when computers were still the size of entire rooms. He bluntly warned that we should expect the machines to take control. We simply cannot brute force a leash onto something vastly smarter than we are. We either build provably safe, controllable AI with ironclad mathematical guarantees baked in, or, frankly, we just shouldn't build it at all. So let's talk about how we actually do that in Section 3, the probably safe solution, relying on mathematical frameworks. This brings us straight into Stuart Russell's logic for a solution. The goal here isn't to somehow try and maintain human dominance forever. The goal is to build what's called a preference model. And in the realm of decision theory, this isn't about, preferring pineapple on your pizza. It is a profound, mathematically rigorous ranking of every single possible way the future of the universe could unfold, taking all the massive uncertainties into account. Okay, think of it like this. Imagine I sit you down and offer to show you two different movies of your exact future. Movie A is fantastic. It's your ideal life. Movie B ends with you being minced into a hamburger. Obviously, you're picking movie A. If we construct an AGI correctly, its entire existence, its absolute sole purpose, must be dedicated exclusively to navigating the universe's timeline to ensure you stay in movie A and avoid the hamburger scenario at all costs. To guarantee you stay in movie A, the AI has to be governed by two unbendable rules. Number one, its only objective is to satisfy human preferences. Number two, and this is absolutely crucial, it is mathematically programmed to know that it is inherently uncertain about what those preferences actually are. See, if you give an AI a fixed goal, like cure cancer, it might just irradiate the entire planet to achieve it. Boom, cancer cured, but everyone's dead. But if the machine is forced to constantly question what we value, it has to ask for permission. It has to watch us, defer to us, and learn what we genuinely want before making a move. Which naturally leads us right into Section 4. Let's call this the Thanos problem. 8 billion human futures. So the moment you tell an AI its job is to figure out what humans prefer, you hit a massive mathematical roadblock. There are 8 billion of us. You can't just hardcode Western values or Eastern values or the specific values of one tech CEO in Silicon Valley into the machine. Every single person's preferences matter. But trying to synthesize 8 billion wildly different, often totally contradictory ideal futures, that is a mind-bending puzzle. It's honestly a philosophical nightmare. I mean, what happens when two different people both deeply prefer to be the sole ruler of the universe? Or consider the chilling warning from economist Amartya Sen. What about historically oppressed groups who've been socially conditioned to actually accept or prefer their own oppression? Should a highly advanced AI just blindly fulfill those manipulated preferences and keep them at the bottom? If not, the AI is forced to play paternalistic judge, which is exactly the kind of terrifying power dynamic we're desperately trying to avoid. If we don't rigorously solve exactly how to aggregate these 8 billion preferences, the AI might just default to some catastrophic comic book villain brand of utilitarianism. Think about it. If you give a machine the simple prompt to maximize total human happiness, it might crunch the numbers and decide that peacefully eliminating the unhappiest half of the population leaves the remaining half with double the resources, technically making them more than twice as happy. We absolutely have to nail down these ethical frameworks before the AI decides to implement the wrong ones. And navigating this ethical tightrope brings us right back to why that utopian WALL-E future feels so deeply wrong to us. It's because we inherently crave the freedom to make our own mistakes. Autonomy is a fundamental, non-negotiable human preference. Even if an AI could perfectly run our society, manage the entire global economy, and keep us completely safe, we still fundamentally desire the agency to stumble, to learn, and to consciously choose paths that might not even be in our own strictly calculated best interest. So when we weigh our deep psychological need for autonomy against the staggering, godlike power of AGI, we are left staring at a profoundly difficult question. Can we actually remain fiercely independent while simultaneously sharing our planet with an entity that definitively knows what's better for us than we do? It's a paradox of coexistence that researchers, economists, and even the best sci-fi writers have completely struggled to resolve. I want to leave you with this final, pretty provocative thought on the matter. Perhaps the absolute greatest triumph of a provably safe, preference reading AI wouldn't actually be sticking around to run our world for us. Maybe its greatest triumph would be knowing exactly when to walk away. If we design these systems with a flawless understanding of human preferences, including our unyielding need for autonomy, the AI will realize that managing us actively destroys our agency. So the most beautiful, ideal outcome might just be a superintelligence that brings itself into existence, sets up the ultimate guardrails to ensure we don't accidentally wipe ourselves out, and then politely steps aside. It hands us the keys and says, "Call me if there's an emergency, but otherwise, this is your world to run." And honestly, that might mean we finally got it right.